YouTube, what is up? We are on Sunset and I'm going through my favorite setups on Cypher at the moment, and we're kind of going through all the Sentinels. Any camera that you have to 180 to get and you have to aim up is an absolute nightmare. So this is my favorite camera. Add that with this trip, I think it's really strong. So yeah, absolute nightmare to shoot this trip. You kind of have to go real aggro, real into the open to break this. So I think this is strong. This camera kind of works with any cage. Obviously you can kind of do cages over towards here if you wanted to. Say you're playing over towards here, you can just get tags, whatever, right? And you can play around the corner, get tags, etc. So I think that's really strong. But my favorite cage of it is over towards here. You see this L, you aim at the bottom of the L and this goes over towards here. What you actually want to do is aim a little bit further to the left and the cages go a little bit lower. This means if you're peeking from the back here, they have less chance of seeing you. So aim a little bit to the left of that. I'm a big fan of peeking over towards the left here in terms of facing from here, just because I think when this cage goes off a lot of the time, the pathing is going to be to try and get around this corner here. So I think going here, you're going to be able to get a lot of free kills once they see this. So yeah, really nice. In terms of trips, right, we have that trip there. Info trip is going to be a kill trip as well because it's so hard to get and break. This trip is what you want to be doing as well. If you can block off 2 bits of map info with 1 trip, it's really strong. So yeah, this is a very nice trip. If you are on the enemy team, you're playing against the Cypher, just make sure you spam this wall a lot of the time from bottom of mid. Same thing in terms of the floor for a Killjoy, because you want to break this. You want to make sure that you're pressuring bottom of mid on this map. It kind of has to happen in my mind. When that starts happening and the enemy team is breaking your trip, that means you can start using kill trips over towards site as well. So that's really cool. This is my favorite kill trip at the moment. I feel like people, once they're entering the site, are going to be pathing over towards here, right? Some kind of vision block, smoke, and they're going to go into this. So I think this is a really strong pause if you want to play here. Just a little micro peek out. You don't have to wide swing or anything. You don't want to get traded. Just a nice little kill. Then you can go back and then use some of the other cages or ping another person, use a cage, and then dance around the site, basically. B is an absolute haven for Cypher, for sure. So yeah, one of the nicer cams, that one. You can as well have a few cams where like you're spotting early info in terms of legs. Let's see how high we can get this camera. It does take a couple of jumps. You can get this a little bit higher, but that's not too bad, right? They have to go pretty close to see this. Again, you can get it like up the top there. So yeah, this is relatively nice. You can see over towards here as well, so it's kind of double aggro, double information even. And there's a skill jump here. Just make sure that you crouch instantly after you jump, and you can kind of go around the corner. It looks a lot harder than it actually is. Then you can go over towards here. You can... Did it go far enough? You can spot feet. Let me do it a little bit better. You can go right round the corner there and you can spot. That's pretty much in the same place, but you get the idea, right? You can spot the corner there. They can't actually move by. So this one's really good in terms of they're only going to see it when they get to like here-ish. So that's kind of nice. There's a nice little setup you can do as well with these cages over towards here. It's good to get info. You can either use like this cam, but I think this cam is really good with it. I recommend shutting the door, using a trip over towards here. If this trip is, so you can play here. I think this is a strong pause. If the trip gets broken, you can get a kill off of it. Then you can kind of see if anyone's coming out. You can ping them, get a kill off it as well. I wouldn't recommend swinging, but you never know. And then you can kind of watch them running out. You can do a cage if you want, and then you can kind of just spot feet. It is ideally better to spot feet from here, so maybe you want to start playing here if your trip isn't broken as well. This is very nice to spot feet over towards this. Double info camera as well in terms of this over towards here. Really strong. Getting info. A nice one way to do with this is this one up here as well. So say you're playing around here, say you got a kill trip over towards site or something, and yeah, you're pretty much just waiting for contact. You see them, and then you can just have your gun out. Maybe you're around the corner a bit more than I am, and you can get a kill over towards here. So yeah, really nice map. Like really nice map for this one. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. A lot of kill trips over towards the site. A lot of gimmick plays in terms of going over towards here, using your cam, ping someone, then you can stand up, kill. yeah, kind of freedom around the map itself, and a lot of good cameras. Any camera across this wall is just really, really strong. So yeah, great site for Cypher is the B site. Now over towards A. Cypher over towards A is decent as well, so I recommend doing the trip over towards middle, same thing until it gets broken, then you can start doing kill trips. This cam's a little bit tricky, but you're got to be a bit patient with it. That should be good enough. Oh, it's close. It's just good enough. Basically, once the barrier goes down, you'll spot people that are crossing over towards here. So just wanted to check that even if they were crouched, if you could see them. So yeah, it's a nice cam, and you can get into this corner here. See where these two clouds meet, right? We've got the big cloud here, and then we've got the long cloud where these two meet, the little X. You just push that over, is on top of some flower beds. Nice little one-way for when you go here. So basically what you want to do is have the lineup ready, barrier goes down, you throw this, then after the barrier goes down and you've thrown this, you want to be aiming at this, then you go into the camera, you see if they're close, get out of the camera, press detonate whatever button that is for you, and then you can just duel with a nice little one-way. You can keep it open if you want to as well. So I think this one's really, really strong. It's just worth battling and holding this choke point if you can. So I think that's going to be very important. It's a small choke point. I think Viper's going to be strong, but I think having agents that can do aggro stuff on this is nice. I also think as well, this is a little bit gambly, but I honestly think, like, Barrett, say you're back here, barrier goes down, I think it's fine doing a trip like this, to be honest, just to get info. Again, if they shoot it, sure, you know they're there. If they don't shoot it, so say you have this set up right now in terms of trip here, I have so much information. Over half of the map, we know that they're not coming, they're going over towards B. So I think risk reward, throwing it in like 1 round is probably worth it. In terms of strong setups over towards A, there's definitely a good amount. I really like this one. So I would put the camera up towards here. I would put a cage roughly around here. Again, you can still have your trip over towards middle. If you wanted, you could have a trip here. I don't think you need it. You can have a trip over towards side if you really want that information as well. But yeah, I just think this is a great round. Maybe buy a Phantom with this one, where it's just camera spots. They go up, you see them walking in, say they break the camera, or they're about to, you detonate it, and then you literally just swing out and just spam wherever they are. A lot of the time they're going to be so far up, maybe you can move the camera a bit to the right, so they're kind of more committed. But a lot of the time, if you get the ping, they're going to jump behind the spammable box, and through the cage you're just going to be able to spam them. So yeah, big fan of this one. I think this should be pretty strong. And again, you can kind of use this trip where you want. It's nice as well if they come out over towards side, they kind of have to 180 to break this one as well. So you get info, and you can kind of just go between the two. So I think this setup's pretty good. If your trip towards mid starts breaking as well, then you can start being a little bit more adventurous over towards the site. There's a nice camera up here where you can spot. Dude, it's really bugging out on me today. Here we go. So you can spot legs over towards the side, right? So they're trying to get through over towards the link. You can see their legs. So I think this one's really nice. You could definitely have some kill trips off it if you wanted to as well. But how I would play this is I would go like close. Maybe I would have like trips like this if you wanted to as well. Potentially a kill trip over towards site. I'm not sure. Maybe you could just do this one, let's say, for example. And yeah, I just think the playing here is great. You can have a cage in the middle or one a little bit further back, and I think this should be pretty nice. So they're coming here, you can ping, you can detonate that, and you can swing out, and similar thing over towards here, you can kind of see them, and then you can detonate out over towards here, or you could have a bit of a more passive cage. There are one ways, but they're not great. This is probably the best one. I haven't got a lineup with it because it wasn't like super good, but yeah, it can be pretty nice if you're holding over towards lane. I definitely think this could be a strat where you go heavy lane, then this one way becomes relatively strong because you're on the high ground. So definitely something to consider. Another strat that I would do to the last setup for this site, I think, is just more of a spamming. I think the Odin's gonna be really strong. I'm not sure it will be best on Cypher, but I think there's just a few let's see how there's like a really long cage on here, sorry, a really long trip on here that you can do. First of all, we'll start with this one because this one's really strong, maybe just a little bit lower than that. So we've got this kill trip over towards here, and is they gonna let me do it? There we go. And really long ones over towards here. So a lot of kill trips, and remember, a lot of this is spammable. So I feel like this is great in terms of all of this. If you are going to play far back over towards spawn, you're going to play here as well. Something that I recommend in terms of cages is go to the third stair here and look at the third line on the wall here and just pop that up there. And it's a nice little one-way. You can either just do it here, or if you're feeling fancy, you can just use the Odin as well. And yeah, I think this one's really, really strong. You can play around with some cameras on this. You can do one up over towards here or like down here. I think is honestly going to be relatively good. You just want to get information in terms of like, are they creeping over towards here? Are they coming out? And then you can kind of detonate this and then swing off it. Or just be patient and wait for them over towards site. So yeah, I think these are some of the better Cypher setups over towards A. I'm going to quickly talk about attack, just because I just think there's some nice things that I came across. I didn't really want to talk about attack, but Cypher maps are pretty much defined from the attack, like if it's actually useful. The fact that you can get these cameras early, get information if anyone's pushing B, that's absolutely huge. And the same thing over towards A, I feel like this is super strong. Just instant information over towards A as well. So looks great once the barrier goes down. You can just get full info. You can ping someone close and then you can go aggro, obviously cage this a bit better than that, and you can just really send it if you want to. Also, it's good to note that you can also do your camera a little bit aggro. So say like say you wanted to do a cage to just take all of this, you could detonate the cage and try and, is it going to work? Yeah, just get an aggro cam to spot over. Just remember they can see you here as well, so this isn't too reliable, but it is good information as well. It's doing like a deeper cam here. So I haven't put enough thought into the attack side, but I just thought this was really cool to just show. Moving on to Killjoy, and this is the setup that I would be doing over towards middle. I think that again, with the Sentinel, you should always try and just hold middle, at least for the beginning, to see, I mean, just early information means you can play the sites heavier. One little bit of a utility for 2 spots essentially is great. Alarm bot in middle, turret over towards here, multi-purpose. Actually, you should be over towards here. So again, if your alarm bot gets broken, it can then spam over towards here. And if it shoots people at door, you can spam through it, and then we will have a kill setup as well over towards A. And the kill setup is this molly here. So you see this 4-way tile, just go to the one on the right and see this little white spike. Just put it on the edge of the white spike, should be perfect. Means that this corner is covered by the molly, so is this one. So if they try and run away, most likely the only free spot is here, unless they start jumping up, but that's fine, they'll be at a similar angle. With that molly as well, you go over towards opposite this guy, you go over towards here, the 4 tiles just in the middle of these 2 tiles here. So I'll show you them both together and we'll see what the other one does. So that one that gets all of these corners really strong, they kind of meet in the middle and it gets all of this as well. So that's kind of nice, and then the turret is pinging them away. If your alarm bot goes over towards middle, they start realizing it's there. I think it's honestly worth doing this. I think it's just worth having your turret here. It spots over towards A link, it spots over towards middle, and you can just do the exact same setup. I just think it's really, really strong until they start working out what you're actually going to be doing, and then maybe you can move site itself. So alarm bot in the middle, similar thing. And yeah, I just think that this is very, very strong. Door down again so that you can get full information in terms of door. And yeah, you can just play really far back. I actually think playing like super passive is fine. You can get information here. Maybe you can just jiggle peek this a lot of the time. Just get info if they're going over towards the site. Then again, alarm bot goes off and you can just set these off as well. So I think this is a nice way to play with all of this information. Yeah, I haven't. There's probably some other stuff for Killjoy, but this is like my main go-to at the moment. And then if they start realizing that mollies are here, I'd probably ask to switch over towards A. All right, over towards A, and again, like I said, we need to have some aggro stuff because teams like to go aggro over towards here. The choke point is good to hold. So see this little Dubra, top right corner of his head, that is where you're going to be mollying. So mollying here at the beginning, super nice, does fill up both of these and can kind of prevent a rush if needs be. You can also throw that molly, put the turret down as well, and just off the contact if you wanted to, just spam. I think it should be relatively hard. If you want to play passive, I guess you could play a little bit closer, but I think that's probably one of the best things to do if you want to fight this. My actual favorite setup, obviously if I'm doing that, I would have alarm bot over towards middle. My favorite setup at the moment, and again I need a bit more thought over towards A, I think, but I really like this. So turret spots over towards middle, it's a little bit passive, tell your teammates that they can die here obviously, but this is nice, you're going to spot everyone that runs all the way up, so that's great. And then with this, I honestly think playing like down to the side is going to be really strong. When they swing the corner, a lot of the time they're going to go see this and they're just going to shoot that instantly. So you could either tuck a bit further to the left, you could either play like really far down here as well if you wanted. And the fact that this is spammable, as soon as the turret goes off, you're going to get this kill. They're going to be slowed, they're going to aim for the turret before you, and it's just a nice little spam kill. With that as well, when it's watching middle, you can definitely have an alarm bot over towards side if you want to. This is the best molly for lane, I think. I can try and look into something a bit better. Does get the corners, and then if they want to flood site as well, combined with this one is really strong as well. They can't really see this area that they're getting melted from. So these two together, this dot here and this dot, just means that it's kind of just yeah, the floor is lava basically. So I think that's pretty strong. Maybe you could move your alarm bot a little bit further back before they see this. So yeah, I think that this is a strong setup. Again, just playing off of this, just having double info and that info over towards middle. Now I have like an eco strat, I guess, for this. Maybe a pistol strat if you want to buy a frenzy. I think putting the turret on top of here is really strong. First of all, it sees side. But I think with the turret, if you place it here, I think a good thing to do is just tucking into this corner. Once the turret spots someone, you can just swing and try and get a kill. Again, pistol, this could be pretty strong. Maybe eco, something like that. Bonus rounds, I'm not sure. But nice little gimmick play if you want to try that one out. Then obviously as well, I think you can have just a kill set up over towards site. I want to see, before I do kill setups over towards site, I kind of want to see how the plant's going. Like obviously you can do like a good setup over towards here where they're running in, and then you can just get good damage. But I do want to see how the map plays out first before I kind of work any of this out. So yeah, try some stuff out in ranks, let me know. And yeah, once we kind of see a meta, then I'll know like what a good go-to way to play A side is. But honestly, there's a lot of turrets that you could do. I really think that using the Odin back here is going to get exploited and explored a lot. So you could do like a turret at the top here, you could do alarm bot over towards side in terms of getting information, and literally just as soon as it spots, just spamming. Same thing over towards here. Like an Odin with this setup is going to be really strong. There are so many spammable boxes here that I just think an Odin is just going to be, it's just going to be incredible in my books. So yeah, I think you can have a good kill setup here, and an Odin watching potentially this, or like I said at the back here with a turret. So yeah, try out, let me know in the comments what you think is better, but maybe those other setups are working out well for you. Chamber on this map is pretty legit for sure as well. If you're a confident player, you want to take some duels, play a lot of off angles, this is the one for you. So I think if you want to go here, take this kind of off angle, a lot of times you want to have a teammate spotting this. He's probably going to get smoked off, so the comms need to be good. But yeah, if that does happen, I think dropping down to the floor is really nice, and then you can kind of have your trip over towards market, or even over towards B. If you wanted to fight a lot of this, you can have it over towards here, and you can still face all of middle in terms of this area, and then fall back and play off your trip if need be. So that's kind of how I would play over towards middle if you wanted to fight. Similar trip as well, you could do it on the right side this time if you want to. Just dueling over towards middle is kind of nice, can get to some angles that people can't get to, and yeah, just become, don't let them have middle for free sometimes, I guess is what you can do with chamber, which is really nice. Over towards B main, there is a lot you can do. So I think if you want to, if you're like smoking here, you're getting smoke here, or you're taking it, a lot of time just running in and just tripping this relatively safely is strong, just in the corner so that you get full info. If they ever pass here, then you can kind of play a little bit more passive, say that you TP like here, and then you can just play this off angle over towards market as well, swing if you're feeling confident, and then TP away and then help your team over towards B. So I think that one's kind of nice. Another one in terms of if your trip is over towards middle, then you need to play, first of all, if you are tripping middle, just remember that they can see it from here, and then keep on track of if it's getting shot, then just switch sides. If it's getting shot, to switch over towards this side. Gives you more options in terms of B as well. This is one option that you can do with both trips over towards middle. You got to do the jump again. Just remember to hold down crouch. Again, this is a lot easier than it looks, I promise. And yeah, so just hold down, so jump and then crouch basically. Then you can kind of have this angle wherever you want to op it, wherever you want to play like this. Can be good for this off angle if they're splitting. And then you can just TP away and help your teammate at market, or work out where this guy's gone that broke your trip. So I think that that's kind of nice. With this trip over towards the right as well, there's a good amount you can do, like I said, off angles, and being like no one is going to be playing this angle really apart from a chamber, so kind of use it. You can play all of this, and yeah, it's just good to TP away, and then you can get some other good angles. Yeah, but all the angles here are kind of really nice, so I think that that's great. In terms of a little eco play, I'm a big Judge fan, you know it. I think that, like, let's just do this one. I would probably say that this is probably a little bit too risky. Say your trip's over towards market instead, and yeah, I would just hide behind here at the beginning, just walk over, maybe hopefully they don't have a camera spotting you, and yeah, just get some kills here, TP out, try and ask for a smoke, hopefully you got a Viper or something, and then yeah, just wait for more kills coming in, be a nuisance. If you get naded off here, remember just to like pre-fire that, and then try and take someone down with you. I think you're always gonna get at least your one being this, and you get info over towards market as well, so I think it's not too bad. But yeah, B is a very strong site for chamber. There is a lot you can do, and yeah, it is very nice over towards here, so kind of excited to try it. I like playing chamber in ranked, so we will try it out. Let's have a look at A now. Chamber over towards A is pretty strong. We got our trip towards middle. It's the same thing as always, right? Until it starts getting shot, I want to see it there. This angle is really strong. So at the moment, I'm holding all of middle and all of A. So I've got like, what, 60%, maybe a little bit less because they can get over towards middle here. But I've got a good majority of the map covered on my own. Get a kill here, TP out. It feels like it's not safe, but I promise it is, right? Even if they find that you here, you TP out, and they're trying to do like the best pathing, they can only spam you when you get to here. By that time, you got your gun out, you're probably already around this corner, or if you're that guy, you can just swing for sure. In terms of playing a little bit more passive, so much you can do, right? TPing up here at the beginning and spawn, throwing this one far back. I think this is really strong. When you can get a kill here, then you can continue your spam, and then as soon as you see someone peek, you just TP out of there. I think that's really strong. You could wait for it to recharge. You could get up here safely as well if you wanted to, and you can just play above the smoke if you want to play like really passive. I think this is a strong angle because I think people are going to be smoking here, and you're going to be able to see over every single smoke. So I think this is a strong pos to fall back on for sure. If your trip breaks over towards middle, again, you can do it over towards the right side, but just bear in mind that you'll have to play like kind of one of the setups that I just said, more over towards A itself. I think being, towards the side of A itself. I think going on top of some of these can be pretty strong as well. When your trip goes over towards middle, you can start playing around with that kind of stuff, right? You can have even just a trip on the side, or a trip that gives you a lot of info, and you can just focus on a lot of this play. And just remember, you can just move it as far back as possible to try and get out of there, but just be wary that you probably want to do this trip to get a lot of information and get out of there. Also means that you can play this angle, which I think could be really strong, like really tucked in. I think a lot of people are going to forget that you can play up there, especially if you have a mate holding over towards A main. I feel like this is a very strong pos. I do like a couple of things. I think the playing over towards the trip over towards the corner here is really nice, and then maybe like having an op. I think your TP being here is great, and just you playing over towards side is nice. You can play just like a normal angle. You can play slightly in the middle in terms of off angle, but you can go also super aggro as well if you want to. And yeah, just safely TP away, and then you've got full information if you want to play a little bit more passive over towards side. Speaking of elbow or side, whatever you decide to call it, this is also the same thing. I would recommend, if you want to do this, like beforehand, move your trip a little bit into the open to get you early info, so like enemies will get pinged here, and you can then focus over towards short. So say that you're focusing here, your trip goes off, quickly look over there, then you'll have a timing, get the kill, get out of there, and then maybe 5v4 depending on what your teammates do. But yeah, there's so much you can do on this map with Chamber. Yeah, just experiment. It becomes a little bit like Jet. You can go so aggro on this map. There is so many TPs that I think will be good. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the kind of pro teams, maybe even some Premier teams are doing to, if they use Chamber, that is. Last and most definitely least on this occasion, it's Deadlock. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff. I didn't spend too long on it. I'm kind of just waiting for it to get a buff. I think that this should be relatively good. If you want to get a kill, that's when they're going to start making sound when they run over towards the site. You can nade off of here. It goes out into the open. Should probably get a few people if you want to swing with it. You could combo that with your ult, I imagine. Something like this can be pretty strong. It goes into the open. Maybe it needs to be a bit to the right. Yeah, it goes a bit into the open, so that's not too bad. You can have your Frisbee, if they push over towards here, can block off a lot of this, so that can be okay reactively if you got some info. And I guess the same thing here, if they're running out, you could do that relatively safely, and yeah, trap some people in a little bit. But yeah, again, it's Deadlock, it's not great. It's not great. Yeah, I just, again, the agent's going to get buffed, so it's like we shouldn't really be using it. Over towards A, you can definitely do some stuff. I actually think like this will be okay. The range is pretty good. It's like out over towards here, so honestly, once it goes off, you can kind of just insta-spam and you know they're across this line, so that's kind of cool. Again, you could try to get a kill set up over towards here. Anything on site as well could work. Lane, but yeah, it's not great. One thing that is kind of cool, obviously you can just grenade at the beginning if you want to try and get people. You could grenade at the top as well. But I do think, let's see if I can get this first time. Something like this, maybe say the barrier's here. Something like this over the top. Nope. Sure, let's go with that. You can like lock them in, so if you did have some set strat where you're just pushing down, I think it could be okay. Like maybe you could nade off it as well, get anyone that's trapped here with some kind of combo. So I think that could be pretty good. Could work okay on the attack side as well if you want to lock some people in. But yeah, in terms of Deadlock, let's just wait. No one play it, and let's just wait for a much needed buff. Yeah, that should hopefully be happening soon. We'll find out. If you like this kind of content, let me know. Subscribe, like it, drop a comment with your setup that is better, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, let me know what you think of this kind of content. I'm tempted to do more of it, especially now I have some more time in the off season. Peace. Thank you so much.